The Golden State Warriors are yet again in the market to try and sign or trade for another big name center to the team. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got some more NBA news to talk about with you guys. Again, this time it is currently being reported that the Golden State Warriors reportedly have trade interest in Spurs' LeMarcus Aldridge, and that is all being reported by Zach Lowe. Now, I find this to be not exactly the greatest thing for Golden State fans, as LeMarcus Aldridge would be a really nice player to get, especially if they could actually get him on a pretty cheap contract. But because of his contract situation right now, I don't believe there is actually a way they can trade for him at all. I don't believe he actually has a player option or anything like that, and even if he did, the kind of money he does have is $24 million for next season. He's just not going to decline that. And again, yeah, I don't believe it is actually a player option. I believe it is 100% guaranteed $24 million for him for the 20-21 season. And obviously, again, he will be age 35. The Warriors are just not going to want to take on that kind of cash, considering they already have Steph Curry, who's on, I believe, the Supermax. Klay Thompson, who I think is on somewhere near to like the Supermax. Andrew Wiggins is on the max, and Draymond Green is not on the max, but he is on $25 million or so, I do believe, a season, which is incredibly overpaid for a player like Draymond. Look, I am not a very big fan of Draymond. I do like how he does play the game, though. He is an underrated point forward, and I feel like, again, a lot of people... reason I'm saying he's underrated as a point forward is because of the hate he was getting this season. The reason why he wasn't that good is because he didn't have good teammates to pass it to, and that's just one of the two things he excels at. He excels at being a good defender, but also being a playmaker to great catch and shooters, and that's why he was able to play so well with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson for so many years. But once they went down with, an injury, it just kind of ruined everything for Draymond Green. So, again, they do have Draymond Green, they do have the other three players who are on the max to Supermax, while also having, again, players like Kevon Looney, etc., who are signed to about $5 million per season. And if they do go ahead and pick a player up at number 2, I believe that player will be signed on up to a near $10 million deal, I think is what they go up to, or something like that on the rookie deal. So, again, they will have a lot of issues salary-wise. I feel like, they are a team that would definitely go over quite a bit, but I feel like they've reached the edge of what quite over is and what quite over is to them, because again, you don't often see teams have three, max players on the league. There are obviously the contending teams do, because again, they're willing to spend that money just because they know they can contend, bring money back in. But again, the teams that are not exactly doing too well, some of the franchises that, again, aren't exactly in that type of market at the moment, probably aren't going to be the type of teams to have 3 max contracts on their, squad. But not only do the Golden State Warriors actually have 3 max contracts, but they also have Draymond Green, who's on $25 million, which is practically a 4th max contract. It's just off it. Where I'm getting at here is I don't believe they're going to be wanting to go and trade for a player like LeMarcus Aldridge, who is already on $24 million. Again, especially if they were to do this, they would have to give up one of the 4 players that I just mentioned earlier. And of course, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are both untouchables for them. We all know this. Both of those players are probably never ever going to be getting traded from this team, at least for the next, couple of years. You never know what's going to happen in 5 years or so. Who knows? Maybe something does happen, but whatever. We're not looking at that right now. Both of these players for the time being are untouchable. While if you look at Andrew Wiggins, yes, he's not untouchable, but he has just been on the team for a short amount of time, and I do believe the Golden State Warriors are going to try and see how the experiment will go with him. So I don't believe they're probably going to be trading him, unless if it was someone like James Harden or, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who they've also been, rumored and interested in. And then as well, Draymond Green, I feel like has been so vital to the team's success and is a franchise player for them at this point. So, again, I don't believe they're going to be trading him as well. The most likely one would be Andrew Wiggins, probably. And I just don't feel like they would do it for a player like LeMarcus Aldridge. Even though Andrew Wiggins is definitely overpaid, LeMarcus Aldridge is still at the age of 35 and is regressing quite rapidly. and he's not going to come in and bring in the big rebounds. He's more of a spacing type of player, you know, a good mid-range shot. And again, he is guaranteed that $24 million. So what I could potentially see happening is, yes, they could eventually sign him or whatever, but not for the time being. I do feel like he will have to spend one more season on the Spurs or another team before he could get to the Golden State Warriors. I definitely could see a way where, you know, the Golden State Warriors would like to get him, and maybe next season or whatever, he's looking to take a massive pay cut and signs on a $5 to $10 million deal, sign and trade or something, to get to the Golden State Warriors. I could definitely see a player like LeMarcus Aldridge doing something like that. But again, for the time being, I just can't see a way where he gets to the Golden State Warriors. And look, the Spurs, I don't really feel like they're going to want Draymond Green or Andrew Wiggins either. If they did want anyone, it could be Andrew Wiggins. But they would obviously, of course, much prefer to look at the younger players like Jordan Poole, Eric Pascal, all that pick number 2. And even though those, you know, 3 pieces, Pascal and I'd say the number 2 are pretty valuable. Jordan Poole's just average on value at this point. But again, I feel like all 3 of them, they wouldn't really want to include in the deal for LeMarcus Aldridge anyway, because it doesn't really solve the salary cap issues that the Golden State Warriors are having in that front. So again, I just can't see a way where the Golden State Warriors have 3 players on the max contract, one of them on the super max, and then 2 other players that are on the near max contracts in LeMarcus Aldridge and Draymond Green. I just can't see a way where that's going to happen. So, again, if it was, it would probably be Andrew Wiggins. And, yeah, I feel like the Warriors will like to maybe experiment one season and just kind of see how that goes. But, again, that's just how I potentially see it. I definitely feel like maybe the Warriors do have a plan. They have been in the market for quite some time to try and get a center. And it's been, you know, kind of more convincing to me that I don't really feel like the Warriors are going to pick a center at that pick number 2 position. I feel like they would just be much more keen on going and actually signing one in the offseason or something like that. You know, signing a veteran type of one like Serge Ibaka, who might come on veteran money. I definitely feel like the Warriors would be more keen on that. In this way, they can, you know, pick the most talented player they can in the draft to come off the bench, whether that's going to be Anthony Edwards or LaMelo Ball, I guess would, you know, seem to be the mystery. If I had a pick to see what player they would choose out of those 2, I definitely feel like they would pick LaMelo Ball just based on the fact that LaMelo kind of fills in that Sean Livingston type of role. And considering Sean Livingston's been retired now for a little bit, or not necessarily retired, but more out of the league, I feel like they've been desperate to kind of fill in that role. And LaMelo Ball would be able to do it for the next, you know, 4 years. And then once Steph and, you know, Clay decide to, or well, you know, eventually rather decline, then that's where I could see maybe LaMelo Ball, you know, be the future of the Golden State Warriors, you know, somewhere in that time. So I do feel like the Warriors will try and keep that pick number 2. The only way I see them maybe trading it is if they do get a deal revolved around maybe James Harden or Giannis Antetokounmpo. There's definitely some other players in the league that may trade the pick for. There's been rumors they could be looking to trade for Kelly Oubre or Aaron Gordon. I could see a pick 2 being in that, but they would, you know, those 2 teams would have to give the Warriors something pretty good in return as well, because Aaron Gordon or Kelly Oubre is not near as worth as what that pick number 2 is. So again, it's going to be very interesting just to kind of see how this is all going to go. Of course, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this down below. Do you guys think that the Golden State Warriors should actually go out and trade for a center, or maybe even sign a center? Should they draft one, or should they maybe just go and try and trade for LeMarcus Aldridge? Again, I'd definitely really like to know all of your thoughts and opinions on this down below. But of course, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel, MIRL/Lone channel. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well if you haven't already, for all the latest NBA content, NBA news, and just sports-related content in general. Of course, don't forget to check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. Links for them will all be in the description down below. But as I was saying, to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.